Okay, guys, so let's move on to the auction strategy for both Kolkata Knight Riders and Gujarat Titans ahead of the mega auction for IPL 2025. So, as we've done in the previous two videos, we'll start with the defending champions, KKR. Now, just to list the players they retained again, they retained Sunil Narayan, Rinku Singh, Varun Chakravarti, Andre Russell, Ramandeep Singh, and Harshit Rana. So, as far
I
as
just
their
want to say,
auction,
I think they covered both the spinners, spin department over there, and pace bowling with the Harshit Rana. They can have a good opener. So I think in my opinion, I think they should just go for another pace bowler. And opening is again their concern, because Sunil Narine depends. You cannot depend on Sunil Narine. So either you go for Phil Salt again, or there are a lot of good openers like John Butler and
Josh Butler.
Devon Conway, like you have mentioned in the previous video. So that's what I just thought about.
Yeah, for sure. Everything you mentioned is absolutely spot on. Their spin core is already set. I mean, you have Sunil and Varun Chakravarti, you have 8 overs of bankable spin there. And then they've got Andre Russell as well, who can give them a couple overs in the death. So you got 10 overs there, and Harshit Rana is 4 over bank. So you got around 12 to 14 overs of bowling already figured out. So I think exactly like you mentioned, the key is to get one more fast bowler, ideally overseas fast bowler, who would play that Mitchell Stark role from last year. Obviously, I don't think they have the purse to go for Mitchell Stark again. So maybe like a poor man's Mitchell Stark or like a low budget Mitchell Stark option if you can get that back.
You
I'm
mean
not
Mukesh
saying
Chaudhary?
yeah, maybe Mukesh Chaudhary, like if you can go check out our CSK video, we would have called him the next Mitchell Stark or India's Mitchell Stark. But I think I wouldn't say go to Spencer Johnson. I wouldn't say that, but I'd say there's a lot of options out there for the overseas fast bowler. Like you have a Gerald Coetzee, you have a Dilshan Madhushanka, uh, you do have a lot of bowlers, change of pace bowlers as well. You have Jason Behrendorff as well, who can play that Stark role by bowling in the new ball. So that kind of overseas fast bowler is someone I'd look to target who won't go for too much money. And then obviously, like Janish mentioned, opening batter is key. And if I can get that keeper and opening batter sorted in one player itself, that would be fantastic for me. So definitely someone like a Phil Salt, Joss Butler, Devon Conway is someone I'd want to go for. And now KKR actually need a captain now because they don't have a captain, having released Shreyas Iyer. So my ideal choice for as player would be to go for Joss Butler to open innings with Sunil Narayan because he gives you a 3-in-1. He can bat, he keeps, and he's a proficient captain. He's led England to a T20 World Cup title as well. So he's known to be a good captain, good leader. He's a really nice team man. He can bat brilliantly. We've seen him score an 800-run season in the past. And he's just a bank. And he also keeps wickets for you. So that kind of 3-in-1 opener, 3-in-1 player, you don't get everywhere. So I feel Josh Butler would be the perfect candidate for them. Or if somehow they can bag a KL Rahul, that would also be absolutely golden for them because he can also open the batting, keep wickets, and captain. That 3-in-1 player, either Joss Butler or KL Rahul, if they can splurge around 16 to 17 crores on, if one of them they can get in that amount, then as I mentioned, they can get that overseas fast bowler for pretty cheap and just try and work their way around building a solid upper middle order, like fill that Shreyas Iyer role, fill that Venkatesh Iyer role, fill that Nitish Rana role by bringing in either youngsters like bring back an Ankush Raghuvanshi, or you can try and buy back Venkatesh Iyer if he goes cheap. Just I'd say go really big for that opening batter, captain, wicket keeper role, and go big for that middle order role like Venkatesh Iyer, and just build your team around cheaper options for the rest of the players. But I see that might be a concern in terms of the price they have left. They only have 51 crores, so they might only be able to get one of those high profile names and have to build their team around others.
Yeah, that was a great great thoughts, Rahul. I think with you said about Josh Butler coming in, captaining and stuff. But I think there's one more player that we have missed out. That is Fab du Plessis. He also has captaincy experience, especially from RCB, and also like other franchises worldwide. I think he's also a great fit for KKR. He can open the bat and also give you that captaincy role if they're required. And but the only problem is that his age is a little bit downside, and they might need to find a new captain pretty soon after that. But other than that, I think that was a I think they're gonna go for Fab or some type of opener.
So you're saying
And
like since that 3-in-1 option can be very expensive, instead they can go for a rather cheaper opening batter combination and also take a relatively cheaper keeper so that they can go back to someone like a Venkatesh Iyer, put some
yeah,
more money on
exactly. I think
Venkatesh.
yeah, exactly said. But yeah, they might go back to Venkatesh Iyer too, like you said. But other than that, I think KKR know what they're gonna supposed to do or what they need to do because their coach is Chandrakant Pandit. He's a Indian head coach, so he knows a lot of Indian talent out there. He got likes of Harshit Rana, Wagler, and so I think it's going to be a good option for them. Let's move
Yeah,
on to
for
our
sure.
next team. I think. You have anything to say about KKRs?
No, 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 like exactly like you said, I think they'll have a great auction. They already have a great core setup, and they just need to find those little pieces like a keeper, captain, opening batters, and then just foreign fast bowler, and then some middle order batters essentially, and then their team is really good to go.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next team, GT. So, who do you think they should target in their auction table? And I mean, they do have their opening setup ready with Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill, and their spin attack also is kind of ready with Rashid Khan. Maybe they'll just go for one more off spinner, or if they can get that spin department working with Rahul Tewatia and Rashid Khan, if that can work a little bit. And they do have the finishing role also ready with Rahul Tewatia, and if Shah Rukh Khan gets pretty groomed a little bit. That's also ready over there. But other than that, they might need a strong middle order batsman over there. So for that, who are some stronger? Like, do you have
They
any
go back to
names?
David Miller.
Yeah, they can always go back to David Miller, like you said. But that RTM card is going to be mostly used on Shami, like
Mm.
we have discussed in the previous video. If not, they'll go back for David Miller. But
There
yeah,
is
do you
like a
think?
Harry Brook, Liam Livingston, those kind of powerful players.
I'm not sure how much Harry Brook has improved from his time from SRH. We've seen how he was struggling against spin, and last year he didn't play for DC because of his personal reasons. But let's see how he does against spin. I think that's his weakness over there, spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like exactly like you mentioned, they do need some middle order firepower there because at the moment, only Shah Rukh Khan's the guy there. Their openers are set. They got world-class spinner in Rashid Khan. Rahul Tewati and Rashid Khan can finish an innings for you, and Shah Rukh Khan can play at that number four, number five also, or he can be used as a finisher, either way. But they do need that number three, number four really set up. And I feel that they should try going for an Indian batter like an Ajinkya Rahane maybe to fit that role. I feel an Ajinkya Rahane has shown how he's adopted the T20 format pretty well. And he's such an experienced player, they can slot him in at three to support guys like Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan who are still relatively young in their careers. And he can really be a stabilizer at that number three. So I'd go for someone like Ajinkya Rahane. And then I'd really try and buy back a David Miller, maybe not through RTM, but just buy him back. Or someone like a Liam Livingston, a ferocious batter of that
I mean,
nature.
they could always go back to. I just want to bring up this name again, Aiden Markram. He's a great. He could go either to both KKR and GT. They both need a good middle order batsman. So Aiden Markram could be one of their top choices. I just want to bring one more thing. There's this Indian wicketkeeper batsman Jitesh Sharma. Both KKR and GT need a wicketkeeper batsman. Wicketkeeper batsman, sorry. So he could be a potential target for both these teams. So that was that. And if you were looking for like a pace bowling attack, there's a lot of talent in the serious auction, like Avesh Khan, Prasidh Krishna, Natarajan, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. There's likes of Nokia in that auction. If you want international pace bowling, Rabada, name any player, he's probably released this year. So it's on that list.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a great idea as well. And I don't know too much about Aiden Markram still. I'm not buying it. I'm not really convinced about his T20 prowess, but that kind of player is who they need. And another name I can give is Will Jacks. Try and get him. I mean, he scored that fascinating century at Ahmedabad only at the Gujarat Titans home ground. So considering the scars they got from that game, they might try and buy him back just to make sure that it doesn't happen against them again. So someone like a Will Jacks at number four or
The
number
only
three would be
problem I
very
see
valuable.
that with is if RCB can use that RTM card, that might be a big issue for both KKR. I mean, the players that we're talking about, both KKR and GT both need, even though we're talking about GT here, but both KKR and GT need these players. So I'm just saying, both of
Yeah.
them are probably, and if RCB does use that RTM.
Yeah, like you said, most definitely Will Jacks is going to be used. RCB is going to use an RTM on. But then there's his clone Glenn Maxwell if they want to really trust in him and plays that fate that he'd finally fire for the Gujarat Titans. He's also someone who'd really fit their team though. Like maybe give him that chance at number three or number four. Give him the long balls. Give him the long innings to actually give him the time to settle into an innings and play his shots. Who knows? He might fire number three or number four because in that Kings and Punjab season where he was at his absolute best, I'm pretty sure he got a good amount of chances at number three, and that's where he performed his best. So, who knows? You can give Glenn Maxwell number three or number four slot as well, and just give him that license to play his way. So I feel like that kind of overseas middle order batter is what they should be targeting. And as I said, Ajinkya Rahane could also be an option to fill that number three slot.
Uh,
Yes.
one player we forgot in KKR is that destructive partner of for Sunil Narayan too is Ishan Kishan. He's also a wicketkeeper batsman. He's an Indian, so that might work in their favor.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Ishan Kishan is someone KKR would definitely go after, given that keeping an Indian angle. Uh, as far as GT is concerned, they won't need him because they already have their openers set out.
And
But
just want to say one more thing. Both of these teams don't, now that Vidic and Chris gone, both of them don't have another 3D player in their team. So they could honestly go for Glenn Phillips. He can cover all these roles, bowler, batsman, wicketkeeper. So I think he's a great player. I think he's going to get some big money in this auction.
yeah, for sure. I mean, Glenn Phillips, such a crime that he hasn't got that many opportunities as he should have. Uh, he was just warming the benches mainly, but he's such a good talent, especially with the explosive batting he brings and the amount he's bowling more and more off spin. He's definitely a good talent and would be a great fit in GT's middle order or in KKR's middle order. So he'd gel very well in both places. And the pitches in both these areas are good for batting and conducive. So that should help Glenn Phillips's natural stroke making skills. So as far as the batters are concerned, these are the kind of batters they should target. And as you mentioned, they need some good fast bowlers. Uh, maybe go
The
back
likes of
to
Marco Jansen and all
Marco
that.
Jansen. Yeah, forgot about that name. He's been rising up the ranks with his batting as well. I mean, such a talent, and that height really helps him as well produce that good amount of bounce on the surfaces as well. So Marco Jansen would be a great option. I'd go back to Josh Little. Fazal Haq Farooqi is someone, as we know, GT loves their Afghanistan players.
Exactly.
And
Just want to talk about Puzzle for Rookie. He's very low down in the auction list that he could go for a very low price. If the money is spent by then, he could go for the base price or like maybe plus 2 crores. That's about it. But other than that, he's around. Let me just make sure. Uh, so yeah, he's on 36 set. Just imagine player like him, top wicket taker in T20 World Cup, going on a 36 set.
yeah, exactly. It'll be such a steal for whoever gets him. And he's also a player that would apply to both KKR and GT because KKR needs that Mitchell Stark type replacement for a cheaper option. And Fazal Farooqui would be more than an ideal replacement for someone like a Stark. The way he bowled at the T20 World Cup was fascinating, both with the new ball and at the death. So he'd be such a great replacement for Stark at KKR for a cheaper option. And even for GT, I guess he'd be fancier Spencer Johnson for a cheaper amount of money. So in that way, I think he'd be a great option for either of these teams and a lot of other franchises involved as
Yeah,
well.
one more name that is very deep down in that auction list is Mitchell Santner. He's also one guy that was just warming the benches, but he has a lot of potential talent in him. But he's also going around the 34th set. Just imagine players like with that caliber just going lower.
Yeah, definitely. Especially considering GT has only retained one player, one overseas player. I'd see. I'd see Mitchell Santner being a great fit at the Gujarat Titans, especially with the line and lengths that he bowls. Very economical bowler and can pick wickets on his day as well. So considering that, I think he'd be a great complement to Rashid Khan. If you have one controlling spinner at one end, then Rashid Khan would have more ability to pick wickets at the other end and just decimate oppositions. So I think with the composition of GT side, the fact that they retain mainly Indian players, they can afford to take an overseas spinner like Santner, as they probably would only need an extra overseas middle order batter and an overseas fast bowler, and they can build the rest of their side with proper Indian players like Ajinkya Rahane. Maybe they're gonna buy back Mohammad Shami in my opinion most likely, and then try and get some pacer like Prasidh Krishna that you were talking about for a relatively cheap an option. Even a Bhuvneshwar Kumar up front with a new ball, although although he is
Ages on
aging,
it.
he's a lion is
Yeah.
always a lion, as we say. So, I mean, he's still a quality player. You can still get him back, and I think all those kind of Indian talents there, they can afford to buy like a Mitchell Santner and then an overseas fast bowler, an overseas middle order batter to make this into a really strong contingent for the next 3 years.
But other than that, I think we've covered most of the things that both these teams are going to try targeting. That's it for their option strategy for both KKR and GT. I think if you haven't watched our other two videos, please go ahead and watch them. Other than that, just want to say one more thing. हम फिर से हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम हमको सपोर्ट कीजिए और हम अच्छा वीडियोस बनाएंगे ये मेरे
Yeah,
तरफ से
शुक्रिया शुक्रिया प्लीज सपोर्ट कीजिए हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं प्लीज सपोर्ट कीजिए आपकी मदद बहुत ज़रूरी है हमारे लिए सपोर्ट कीजिए प्लीज धन्यवाद
anything to say in Gujarati or Bengali?
only
Bengali, I know.
Gujarati thing
Ami to Bangla Bhashi, but
only
that's about it.
Gujarati word I know is game show thing. How are
Game
you?
show, guys, game show. But other than
Hopefully
that,
everyone's
that's
doing
it
fine.
for this video, this series, and I'll see you guys in after the auction. Thank you.
Thank you.